Alex smiled. That's the thing about first contact, isn't it? It's not just about meeting aliens. It's about seeing ourselves in a new light. As the humans and aliens began to mingle, sharing stories, and forging the beginnings of friendships, Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of hope. Yes, the road ahead would be challenging. Integrating Earth into the galactic community would require patience, understanding, and probably more than a few moments of culture shock on both sides. But as she watched General Chen awkwardly attempt a traditional Galactic Council greeting with Admiral Zorn, and saw Captain Zixnera enthusiastically discussing Earth cuisine with a group of bemused human soldiers, Alex knew that they were on the right path. Earth might be a crucible world, forging its inhabitants through adversity and challenge. But that crucible had produced something unique in the galaxy, a species capable of facing the unknown with courage, creativity, and an indomitable spirit. As the first stars began to twinkle in the darkening sky, Alex Martinez looked up and smiled. Humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning, and she couldn't wait to see where it would lead. The classification of Earth as a death world had brought them to this moment, but it was humanity's response to that classification that would define their place in the cosmos. Not as harbingers of destruction, but as catalysts for change, growth, and understanding. The universe, vast and wondrous, awaited, and humanity, with all its flaws and all its potential, was ready to take its place among the stars. Meanwhile, in a top-secret facility deep beneath the Earth's surface, a group of scientists and military personnel huddled around a bank of monitors. Alarms blared as their early warning systems detected the presence of an unknown object in orbit. General Sarah Chen, a battle-hardened veteran with piercing eyes and a no-nonsense attitude, addressed the room. "Ladies and gentlemen, it appears we are no longer alone. Initiate Protocol Omega. It's time to show these visitors what humanity is made of." As both humans and aliens prepared for the inevitable encounter, the stage was set for a clash of civilizations that would challenge everything they thought they knew about life, survival, and the true meaning of strength. First contact and misunderstandings. The Stellar Seeker had been in Earth's orbit for 3 standard galactic days, discreetly observing the planet below. Captain Zixnera stood before the ship's holographic display, her 4 eyes darting between the myriad data streams flowing in from their sensors. "Fascinating," she murmured, her iridescent skin shimmering with excitement. These humans seem to thrive on conflict and challenge. They've adapted to nearly every environment on their world. Krell, her reptilian second-in-command, nodded in agreement. "Indeed, Captain. But it's their technology that concerns me. We've detected weapons capable of global destruction, yet they continue to develop even more powerful armaments." Before Zixnera could respond, an alarm blared through the bridge. Dr. Loom's gelatinous form pulsed rapidly as he reported, "Captain, we're being scanned by multiple ground-based systems. Our stealth technology has been compromised." Zixnera's antenna twitched with alarm. "Impossible. How could they?" Her words were cut short as the ship shuddered violently. Warning lights flashed across every console. "We're caught in some kind of energy web," Krell shouted over the din of alarms. "It's draining our power and pulling us into the atmosphere." Zixnera's mind raced. First contact had just been forced upon them, and in the worst possible way. As the Stellar Seeker was dragged inexorably towards Earth, she could only hope that diplomacy might still prevail. Meanwhile, deep within the secret facility beneath the Earth's surface, General Sarah Chen watched with grim satisfaction as the alien craft was pulled into the atmosphere by their experimental gravity tractor beam. "Nicely done, people," she said, her voice tight with tension. "Now let's see what our visitors are made of." As the Stellar Seeker plummeted through Earth's turbulent atmosphere, its hull glowing red-hot from the friction, Zixnera fought to keep her crew calm. "Prepare for emergency landing procedures, and ready the universal translator. We'll need to communicate with the natives immediately." The ship crashed into a remote desert, kicking up a massive plume of sand and debris. As the dust settled, Zixnera and her crew found themselves surrounded by a ring of armed human soldiers, their weapons trained on the alien vessel. General Chen approached the ship, her face a mask of determination. As a hatch opened and Zixnera emerged with her hands raised in a universal gesture of peace, Chen couldn't help but feel a mixture of awe and trepidation. "I am Captain Zixnera of the Galactic Council Survey, ship Stellar Seeker," the alien said, her words translated into English by her advanced technology. "We come in peace and mean you no harm." Chen's eyes narrowed. "That's a nice sentiment, Captain, but your actions speak louder than words. You've been spying on us for days. Care to explain why?" Zixnera's antenna drooped slightly. "We were merely observing, gathering data to classify your world. It's standard procedure for first contact situations." "Classify our world?" Chen's voice dripped with skepticism. "And what exactly did you conclude?" The alien captain hesitated before responding. "Based on our observations, we've tentatively classified Earth as a Class 12 death world, possibly even higher." A murmur ran through the human soldiers. Chen's expression hardened. "A death world? Is that some kind of threat?" No, Zixnera said quickly. "It's a measure of planetary hazards and the resilience of its inhabitants. Your world is extraordinarily dangerous by galactic standards. The fact that your species not only survives but thrives here is remarkable." Chen processed this information, her tactical mind already considering the implications. "So, you're saying we're tough? That we scare you?" Zixnera's four eyes blinked in rapid succession. "Scare isn't the right word. We're cautious. Your species has developed in an environment that would kill most known life forms. Your potential is concerning to some in the galactic community." As the two leaders continued their tense dialogue, neither noticed the young human woman watching from behind a nearby sand dune. Alex Martinez had followed the alien ship's descent, her curiosity overcoming her fear. Now, as she eavesdropped on the conversation, her mind raced with the possibilities. Back on the Stellar Seeker, Dr. Loom was frantically analyzing the data they'd collected during their unplanned descent. "Incredible," he muttered to himself. "The humans' technology is far more advanced than we initially thought. They managed to detect us and bring down our ship with ease." Krell, standing guard at the ship's entrance, overheard the scientist's musings. "We may have underestimated them," he growled. "These humans could be more dangerous than we imagined." As the standoff continued, tensions began to rise. The human soldiers grew restless, their fingers itching on their triggers. Zixnera's crew, still aboard the ship, prepared for the worst. Suddenly, a sandstorm began to brew on the horizon. The humans looked alarmed, but Zixnera and her crew seemed even more distressed. "We need to seek shelter immediately," Zixnera warned. "Our environmental suits won't protect us from this level of particulate bombardment." General Chen scoffed. "It's just a little sand. We deal with this all the time." As the storm hit with full force, the aliens struggled to remain standing, while the humans seemed barely affected. It was a stark demonstration of the differences between their species, and a clear indication of why Earth had earned its deadly classification. Alex, watching from her hiding spot, saw an opportunity. As both humans and aliens battled against the elements, she realized that this moment of shared adversity might be the key to bridging the gap between their two species. Taking a deep breath, she stepped out from behind the dune and walked towards the two leaders, her hands raised in a gesture of peace. "Maybe," she shouted over the howling wind, "we can help each other." All eyes turned to the newcomer, and in that moment, the course of first contact and the future of both species hung in the balance. Escalating tensions. The sandstorm raged around them, a swirling maelstrom of dust and debris that seemed to embody the chaos of the first contact situation. Alex Martinez stood between General Chen and Captain Zixnera, her heart pounding, but her resolve unwavering. "Please, Alex shouted over the howling wind, "We need to work together. This storm is dangerous for all of us." General Chen's eyes narrowed, her military training warring with the unexpected intervention. "Stand down, civilian. This is a restricted area." But Zixnera's antenna perked up with interest. "Wait," she said, her translator struggling against the noise of the storm. "The young human is right. We face a common threat. Perhaps we can assist each other." For a tense moment, it seemed as though Chen might reject the offer. But as the storm intensified, pelting them with stinging sand and reducing visibility to mere meters, she grudgingly nodded. "Fine," Chen barked. "Everyone, back to the transport vehicles. Aliens too." As humans and aliens alike piled into the rugged military transports, Alex found herself squeezed between Zixnera and Dr. Loom. The gelatinous scientist's exosuit whirred and clicked as it filtered out the abrasive particles. "Fascinating," Dr. Loom burbled. "Your species seems well adapted to these harsh conditions. How do you manage it?" Alex, still processing the surreal situation, managed a nervous laugh. "We're not adapted. We've just learned to deal with it. Goggles, masks, proper clothing. It's all about preparation." As the convoy of vehicles sped towards a nearby military base, the uneasy alliance between humans and aliens began to take shape. Inside the lead vehicle, General Chen and Captain Zixnera engaged in a tense dialogue. "You still haven't fully explained your presence here," Chen pressed. "What does this Galactic Council of yours want with Earth?" Zixnera's four eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of discomfort. "As I said, we were merely observing. But there are concerns about your species' potential impact on the galactic community." Chen's jaw tightened. "Concerns? You mean you see us as a threat?" "Not necessarily," Zixnera hedged. "But your adaptability, your technology, your aggression. These traits, combined with the extreme nature of your homeworld, make some in the Council uneasy." As they spoke, the base loomed into view through the haze of the sandstorm, a massive fortified complex built to withstand the harshest of Earth's environments. To the aliens, it must have looked like a fortress designed to repel invasions from the very planet that spawned it. Once inside, the two groups were quickly separated. The Stellar Seeker's crew was ushered into a secure containment area, while the human military personnel gathered in a command center to assess the situation. Alex, caught between the two factions, found herself being debriefed by a stern-faced intelligence officer. "Ms. Martinez, you need to understand the gravity of what you've witnessed. This is a matter of global security." Meanwhile, in the alien containment area, Zixnera conferred with her crew. Krell paced nervously, his claws clicking against the floor. "Captain, this is a disaster. We've violated first contact protocols. The Council will have our hides for this." Dr. Loom's exosuit emitted a series of agitated beeps. "Forget the Council. These humans, their technology, their resilience, they're even more remarkable up close, and potentially more dangerous than we imagined." In the command center, General Chen was engaged in a heated video conference with her superiors. "With all due respect, sir, I believe we need to treat this as a potential invasion scenario. These aliens have technology that could pose a significant threat to global security." As tensions mounted on both sides, Alex found herself drawn into an impromptu role as a mediator. Her natural curiosity and open-mindedness made her uniquely suited to bridge the gap between the two species. "General Chen," she pleaded, having snuck into the command center. "Captain Zixnera and her crew aren't here to invade. They're scientists, explorers, just like us." Chen whirled on her, eyes flashing. "You don't know that, Ms. Martinez. For all we know, this could be an advanced scouting party for a full-scale invasion." Across the base, Zixnera was facing similar skepticism from her own crew. "Captain," Krell hissed, "these humans are clearly a militaristic species. Look at this facility, their weapons. We should never have allowed ourselves to be captured. The situation teetered on a knife's edge. Both sides, driven by fear and misunderstanding, were inching closer to a confrontation that could have catastrophic consequences. It was Dr. Loom who finally broke the deadlock. The alien scientist managed to interface with the base's communication system, broadcasting a message to both humans and aliens alike. "Please," his translated voice echoed through the facility. "We are making a terrible mistake. Our two species have so much to learn from each other. The universe is vast and often hostile. We should be allies, not enemies." His words seemed to give everyone pause. In the command center, General Chen's expression softened almost imperceptibly. In the containment area, Zixnera's antenna quivered with hope. But just as it seemed a peaceful resolution might be possible, alarms blared throughout the base. A junior officer burst into the command center, his face pale with shock. "General," he gasped, "we're picking up multiple objects entering Earth's atmosphere. They're headed straight for us." As the humans scrambled to identify the new threat, Zixnera's blood ran cold. She recognized the energy signatures. It was a Galactic Council peacekeeping fleet, no doubt responding to the Stellar Seeker's distress signal. The stage was set for a three-way confrontation that could determine the fate of Earth and its place in the galactic community. As battle stations were manned and weapons were primed, Alex Martinez found herself at the center of a storm that threatened to engulf not just the desert base, but the entire planet. The true test of humanity's classification as a Class 12, or perhaps even Class 13, Deathworld was about to begin. Human ingenuity unleashed. The sky above the desert military base lit up with the fiery trails of descending spacecraft. The Galactic Council peacekeeping fleet had arrived, and Earth's defenses were scrambling to respond. In the command center, General Chen barked orders rapid fire. "I want every available aircraft in the air now. Activate all ground-based defense systems, and someone get me a direct line to the White House." Alex Martinez, still reeling from the escalating situation, turned to Captain Zixnera. "Can't you stop this? Tell them it's all a misunderstanding." The alien captain's antenna drooped. "I'm afraid it's not that simple. The Council operates on strict protocols. They've likely designated Earth as a threat due to your ability to neutralize our ship." As if to underscore the point, the base shook with the impact of weapons fire. The Galactic Council ships had opened fire, their energy weapons leaving scorched craters in the desert sand. "Return fire," Chen ordered, her face grim. "Show these aliens what Earth is made of." The sky erupted in a dazzling display of advanced weaponry. Earth's missiles streaked upward, met midair by the aliens' energy beams. The peacekeeping fleet's ships were more advanced, but Earth's military had numbers and home field advantage. In the midst of the chaos, Dr. Loom made a startling discovery. "Captain," he called to Zixnera, "I've been analyzing the humans' defense systems. They're adapting. Learning from each volley exchanged with our ships." Krell growled, "Impossible. No species could analyze and counter our technology so quickly." But the evidence was undeniable. With each passing minute, Earth's defenses grew more effective. Shields that once shrugged off missile attacks now flickered under the assault. Human aircraft, initially easy prey for the alien ships, were now holding their own in dogfights that crisscrossed the sky. Alex watched in awe as humanity's infamous adaptability was put to the ultimate test. "This is why Earth is a death world," she realized aloud. "It's not just the planet. It's us. We're the most dangerous thing on it." General Chen, overhearing this, allowed herself a grim smile. "Damn right we are. And it's time we showed these aliens exactly what that means." But as the battle raged on, it became clear that sheer force wasn't going to resolve the situation. The Galactic Council fleet, while taking losses, still had the upper hand. Earth's defenses were stretched to the breaking point. It was in this moment of crisis that human ingenuity truly shone. Alex, drawing on her background in communications technology, had an epiphany. General Chen, Captain Zixnera, I have an idea, but I'll need both of you to trust me. The unlikely trio huddled together as Alex laid out her plan. It was audacious, borderline insane, but it just might work. You want to do what? Chen asked, incredulous. Hijack the Galactic Council's communication network. Alex repeated. Use their own technology against them. But we'll need the Stellar Seeker's systems to pull it off. Zixnera's four eyes widened. That's brilliant. Unorthodox, but brilliant. With time running out and options dwindling, Chen made the call. Do it. What followed was a frenzied race against time. Human and alien technology were jury-rigged together in ways neither species had ever imagined. Dr. Loom's expertise in xenobiology proved crucial in interfacing organic and silicon-based systems. Krell's military knowledge helped target the fleet's vulnerabilities. As the improvised device took shape, Alex couldn't help but marvel at the sight. Humans and aliens, working side by side, combining their unique strengths to create something entirely new. This, she thought, this is what first contact should have been like from the start. With a final connection made, the device hummed to life. Alex took a deep breath and activated the transmission. Across the battlefield, Galactic Council ships suddenly found their systems overridden. Instead of targeting data and battle plans, their screens displayed images of Earth, its diverse ecosystems, its resilient inhabitants, its rich culture and history. Members of the Galactic Council. Alex's voice rang out across the alien fleet. We are not your enemy. We are Earth, humanity, a species born of struggle and adversity. Yes, our world is dangerous. Yes, we are adaptable and sometimes aggressive. But we are also curious, compassionate, and capable of incredible things when we work together. The sounds of battle began to fade as both sides, taken aback by this unexpected turn of events, ceased fire. Look at what we've accomplished here today, Alex continued. Humanity and the crew of the Stellar Seeker, former adversaries, creating something neither could have done alone. This is the true power of Earth, of humanity. Not our weapons or our technology, but our ability to overcome differences and achieve the impossible. As her words echoed across the desert and into space, a new silence fell. The Galactic Council fleet hung motionless in the sky. Earth's defenders watched with bated breath. Then, slowly at first, but with gathering momentum, Galactic Council ships began to power down their weapons. A transmission crackled through. This is Admiral Zorn of the Galactic Council Peacekeeping Fleet. We request a ceasefire and open negotiations. In the command center, humans and aliens alike let out a collective sigh of relief. General Chen turned to Alex, a mix of admiration and exasperation on her face. Ms. Martinez, I don't know whether to promote you or court-martial you. Zixnera's antenna quivered with what might have been laughter. I believe the human phrase is think outside the box. It seems Earth specializes in that. As the adrenaline of the moment began to fade, the true magnitude of what had transpired began to sink in. Earth had not just survived its first extraterrestrial conflict, it had fundamentally changed the course of galactic history. The classification of Earth as a death world had been proven both right and wrong. Yes, the planet and its inhabitants were incredibly dangerous when threatened, but they were also capable of turning that same adaptability, that same fierce determination, towards peaceful ends. As representatives from Earth and the Galactic Council prepared to meet, Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. This was just the beginning. Humanity was about to take its first steps into a larger universe, and she had a feeling it was going to be one hell of a journey. A new understanding. The desert air shimmered with heat as representatives from Earth and the Galactic Council gathered for negotiations. The impromptu conference table was a sight to behold, a mix of high-tech alien equipment and sturdy human military gear, set up in the shadow of the Stellar Seeker. General Chen sat at one end, her posture rigid but her eyes alert and curious. Opposite her was Admiral Zorn, a towering crystalline being whose faceted body refracted the sunlight in dazzling patterns. Captain Zixnera and her crew occupied one side of the table, while a hastily assembled group of human scientists and diplomats sat across from them. Alex Martinez found herself seated between the two groups, a symbolic bridge between worlds. The weight of responsibility settled on her shoulders, but she couldn't suppress a thrill of excitement. Admiral Zorn's crystalline form vibrated, producing a melodious voice. "We must admit, we grievously misunderstood the situation here. Your response to our intervention was most unexpected." General Chen's lip quirked in what might have been a smile. "We're full of surprises. It's how we've survived on this death world of ours." "Indeed," Zixnera chimed in, her antenna twitching with excitement. "I believe we need to reconsider Earth's classification entirely. The adaptability and ingenuity displayed here go beyond anything in our current understanding." A human scientist, Dr. Emily Wong, leaned forward. "Perhaps that's the problem. You've been trying to fit Earth and humanity into your existing framework, but we're something new, aren't we?" The table fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. It was Alex who finally broke the silence. "Maybe that's what we can offer the galaxy," she suggested. "Not just our technology or our resources, but our perspective, our ability to think differently, to find solutions where others see only problems." Admiral Zorn's crystalline body shimmered thoughtfully. "An intriguing proposition, but it also presents challenges. Your species' potential for both creation and destruction is unsettling." "Welcome to being human," Chen said dryly. "We've been unsettling ourselves for millennia." As the negotiations continued, it became clear that integrating Earth into the galactic community would be no simple task. The humans' propensity for rapid technological advancement, their adaptability, and their sometimes aggressive nature were all points of concern for the Galactic Council. But for every concern raised, the humans at the table had a counterpoint. They spoke of their art, their music, their endless curiosity about the universe. They talked about their ability to come together in times of crisis, to innovate and overcome seemingly impossible odds. "Look at what we achieved today," Alex pointed out. "We turned a potential war into an opportunity for understanding. Isn't that worth something?" As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the desert, a tentative agreement began to take shape. Earth would not be classified as a death world, nor would it be subject to the usual restrictions placed on newly discovered species. Instead, a new classification was proposed. Earth would be designated as a crucible world, a planet whose harsh conditions forged a unique and invaluable species. "Humanity will be invited to join the Galactic Council," Admiral Zorn announced, his crystalline form glowing with an inner light. "Not as subordinates, but as equals. Your perspective, your humanity, could be the catalyst for a new era of growth and understanding in our galaxy." The human delegation exchanged looks of amazement and pride. General Chen, ever practical, was already considering the logistics. "We'll need to prepare our people for this. It's going to change everything." "Change isn't always easy," Zixnera said, her four eyes blinking in sequence. "But from what I've seen of humans, you thrive on challenge." As the meeting adjourned, Alex found herself standing at the edge of the makeshift conference area, gazing up at the stars. They seemed different now, knowing what was out there, knowing humanity's place in it all. Dr. Loom's exosuit whirred as he approached her. "You know," the gelatinous scientist said, "when we first arrived, we thought we were studying you. But in the end, I think we've learned more about ourselves." Discovery and classification. The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the Galactic Council's survey ship. The Stellar Seeker, Captain Zixnera, a tall, willowy alien with iridescent skin, stood on the bridge, her four eyes fixed on the main view screen. The ship had just entered a previously unexplored solar system on the outer rim of the Milky Way galaxy. "Status report. Zixnera commanded, her melodic voice carrying the hint of excitement. Her second in command, Krell, a stocky reptilian being, responded promptly. We've detected 8 planets orbiting a yellow dwarf star, Captain. The third planet from the star shows signs of a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere and liquid water. Zixnera's antenna twitched with interest. Fascinating. Any signs of life? Krell manipulated the controls on his console, and the view screen zoomed in on a blue and green orb. Affirmative, Captain. We're detecting complex organic compounds and electromagnetic emissions, consistent with a technologically advanced civilization. The bridge crew fell silent, their various alien features displaying a mix of excitement and trepidation. The discovery of a new sapient species was always a momentous occasion, but it also came with risks. Initiate standard first contact protocols, Zixnera ordered, and begin a thorough analysis of the planet's biosphere and environmental conditions. As the stellar seeker moved into a high orbit around the planet, the ship's sensors began collecting data at an unprecedented rate. The crew worked tirelessly, analyzing atmospheric composition, gravitational fields, and the planet's diverse ecosystems. Hours passed, and Zixnera found herself growing increasingly perplexed by the reports flooding in. She called for a meeting with her senior staff in the ship's conference room. "What have we learned?" she asked, her normally composed demeanor showing signs of strain. The ship's chief scientist, Dr. Loom, a gelatinous being encased in a protective exosuit, spoke first. "Captain, the planet's conditions are extreme, to say the least. The gravitational pull is far stronger than anything we've encountered on a life-bearing world. The atmospheric pressure would crush most known species, and the temperature variations are wildly unstable." Krell added, "We've detected numerous natural disasters occurring simultaneously across the planet's surface. Hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. It's as if the entire world is trying to destroy itself." Zixnera's brow furrowed. "And yet, life not only exists but thrives." Dr. Loom's body pulsed with affirmation. "Indeed. The biodiversity is off the charts. We've identified millions of distinct species, many of which appear to be apex predators by our standards. The dominant sapient species seems to have adapted to survive in nearly every environment on the planet." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Finally, Zixnera spoke. "We need to classify this world according to the Galactic hazard scale." Opinions. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. It was Krell who finally voiced what they were all thinking. "Captain, based on our findings, I believe we're looking at a Class 12 death world." Gasps and murmurs filled the room. Class 12 was the highest official classification on the scale, reserved for planets so dangerous that they were considered nearly uninhabitable. Dr. Loom's exosuit emitted a series of agitated beats. "I concur with Krell's assessment. However, there's something else." The scientist hesitated before continuing. "Some of our readings suggest that this world might even exceed Class 12 parameters." Zixnera's antenna stood rigid with shock. "Are you suggesting a Class 13 death world?" Dr. Loom finished. "Yes, Captain. It's unprecedented, but the data doesn't lie." The implications were staggering. A sapient species evolving on such a world would be unlike anything the Galactic Council had ever encountered. They would have to be incredibly resilient, adaptable, and potentially dangerous. Zixnera took a moment to collect her thoughts. "We need to proceed with extreme caution. Our first priority is to gather more information about the dominant species. We'll maintain our distance and observe. Under no circumstances are we to make direct contact without authorization from the Council." As the meeting adjourned, Zixnera couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the precipice of something monumental. The discovery of this world and its inhabitants would change the course of galactic history. Little did they know, on the planet below, a young human named Alex Martinez was looking up at the night sky, marveling at a strange new star that had appeared. As she peered through her telescope, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that something extraordinary was about to happen.